Hello everybody and welcome to another Tech Minute video. My name is Tom from 6 Foot Networks. Thank you for joining me in the office today. So I wanted to expand a little bit on the GM Chevy Bolt EV recall that was, that I published a few days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. The recall has since been updated a few times, but I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the last video or not, but the recall has been extended to cover every single Chevy Bolt EV that's out on the road today, as well as the brand new ones. And they're saying that the batteries in the Bolt EV could actually have 2 manufacturing defects that could cause fire, one of which being a torn anode tab, part of the battery, and a folded separator that could also, if in the same cell, could cause a higher risk of fire. So what's there to be said besides, follow the instructions that GM gave us? It's still scary in that, you're driving this car that may or may not have a manufacturing defect that, I've always been the type to believe that there isn't any amount of software that can fix broken hardware. This is broken hardware. This isn't a bug in the battery management system or a cabling fault or something that could potentially be resolved with a couple of extra ones and zeros. In fact, I think the only option is to replace the battery modules, which I was saying, last year sometime, when the first recall came out with the 2017 models. I kind of figured that, when GM was offering the software patch, that they would, take your car, patch it, and then do whatever, software update would be in that package, that driving off, you'd have essentially like a new car. No, the defect is still there. The issues are still there. They're just being, band-aided with a patch that will prevent you from doing certain things. Now, in the older models, they got rid of what was called Hilltop Reserve Mode, which is essentially that top 5 or 10% of the battery, you can opt to charge your car to 90% or 95%. And then the Hilltop Reserve was if you lived on a hill and you drove it in L, which is the low mode or whatever they call that. I think that was misnamed too, but that's neither here nor there. If you drove it downhill, you could still regen on the way down and generate a little bit of power and use regenerative braking and whatnot. So that's what that was. They got rid of that and they kind of statically set the maximum charge to 90%, no matter what. You can't change it. Now on my model car, which is a 2020, we didn't have Hilltop Reserve Mode. We just have target charge. You can tell your car to charge to 75%, 85, or whatever you want in between in 5% increments. So I usually typically charge my car to 95% because if I get into my car, I need to know that I can get to where I need to go. If I do long distance driving, then I'll bump that up to 100% and go on my way. But the recall instructions were very clear: 90%, and don't let your charge drop below 70 miles of range. So whatever that equates to. And I assume, this is just a big assumption on my part, that everybody's foot is going to drive that guessometer on the left side there in its own direction, meaning that if you have a heavy foot like I do, your 70 miles of range might be at, 35%. I got home last night from lots of driving. I pulled probably 105 miles yesterday, or I drove 105 miles. And when I got home, I had, just out of nowhere, immediately, I had 60 miles of range on the estimator, but I was still, somewhere in the high, probably 30, 40. I'm guessing it was close to the middle. So it just depends on that. I can't speak for your experiences, but just use common sense. If GM says, don't drop it below 70 miles of range, don't drop it below 70 miles of range. Also, if something should happen, they're gonna look at that. They're gonna say, what was your range? If they find out your battery was at like 5% or whatever, and you depleted it when you plugged it in, and then things got hot during charging or what have you, and the car burst into flames, they're probably gonna tell you to hit the road. Although I don't know, you know, that's not described in the NHTSA, the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration's brief, and GM's media website is all over the place because they keep changing things from what it looks like. But the only thing I know for certain is that somebody's gonna eat $1 billion of profit, because that's what these, what is it, 73,000 cars? I remember reading somewhere that it was close to 73,000 cars that are affected. And I'm guessing that's gonna transpire to other manufacturers as well. That's just me speculating, but just use common sense essentially with these cars and do what you can to be safe. You know, charge your car outside. If you need to put it in the street to charge, put it in the street to charge. I park mine in my driveway, and I try to keep it away from my house as far as I can, which isn't much because my driveway is only, I think, 22 feet long. So I try to park it as close to the, you know, edge of the sidewalk / street combo that I can, but you know, don't park it inside while charging, and don't overcharge it. Don't drive it below a certain range. Just wait until GM fixes these damn batteries. You know, it's literally all we can do. It's a hassle, it's a pain. You can't drive it for very far before you run out of juice, but this is the world of technology. How many recalls has Tesla had? You know, how many recalls have other manufacturers had on all sorts of things? I remember Honda had to recall a whole bunch of cars because their airbags were turning into Claymore mines. I mean, it is what it is, right? This is the state of the world. And, you know, cars that have been around for 4 or 5 years aren't going to prove the technology any better than cars that have been around for decades, right? It is something that we have to believe in. We have to believe in the system. We have to believe in the fact that engineers are going to get it right. They're going to do the right thing. And we have to hope that the cars are at least tested to the point where they won't kill us out the door. And so far, I know people that have had their, you know, 3 or 4 year old Bolt and have driven 120,000+ miles and had no issues. So I believe that my 2020 Bolt, which has just under 10,000 miles on it, isn't gonna have an issue either, because I drive mine hard. I squeal the tires when possible because I think it's awesome. I think the car has enough power to, you know, to pull a boat. It might, I don't know, I wouldn't do it, but the point is that until GM fixes this, we just have to hang tight, and they're gonna fix it. It's in every brief that I've read that they're gonna fix it. Between LG and GM, they're gonna figure out how to ramp up battery productions and how to get, you know, the Chevy Bolt EVs and the EUVs, you know, new hardware. And of course, you know, that said, you know, they could also look at adapting the Ultium technology to kind of fit the bill of maybe newer EUVs or EVs, but I don't know. That said, 73,000 cars are about to pull into dealerships nationwide, actually probably nationwide and Canada, right? So I wish GM all the luck in the world, and I hope this gets resolved sooner than later. Anyway, if you like this video, as always, please give us a thumbs up. If you really like this video and want to see more of this, then please consider subscribing to our channel, as it does help us grow and it allows us to create more content like this for you. In the meantime, good luck with everything, especially if you're a Bolt EV owner. And until next time, thank you for watching.